Even in football, there is room for chic, charm, and good wine after victory.
That's a beautiful way to put it.
It is, isn't it? It's a quote from one of the sources we had on French football, and it paints this really lovely, almost pastoral picture of the amateur game, you know?
A romantic tradition, the whole village gathering on a Sunday.
Exactly. But the deeper I got into these documents you sent over, the more that quote started to feel like, well, a bit of a facade.
Yeah.
Because what we're actually looking at isn't just good wine and charm. It's a cutthroat, economically fragile ecosystem. We're talking 3 million people, and it seems to be cracking under its own weight.
It really is the engine room of the country.
Yeah.
We aren't talking about PSG or Kylian Mbappé today.
No.
We're looking at the, 40,000 clubs that exist underneath that really elite layer. And you're right to be skeptical of the romance. The sources paint a picture of a system that's really struggling to reconcile its history with a very harsh modern economic reality.
And that's our mission for this deep dive.
Yeah.
We need to understand this quiet revolution that's happening in the third division.
Yeah.
We need to talk about the black market economy operating in amateur locker rooms, which was a huge eye-opener for me.
The big cabro.
And we need to figure out why thousands of these charming village clubs are literally just vanishing from the map.
It's a massive topic. So where do you want to start?
Let's start with the structure itself.
Yeah.
Because when you look at the pyramid, it feels incredibly top-heavy. You've got the LFP, the Professional Football League, running the show at the top.
Right. That's League One and League Two. The glitz. That's what everyone sees on TV.
And that's the fully professional sector.
Correct. And it's worth just noting for context, professionalism in France is actually quite young compared to, say, England. It only became legal in 1932.
Really?
Yeah, founders like Georges Beyrou and Gabriel Hanot, they had to fight tooth and nail just to get the idea of paid football recognized.
So it's not even a century old.
Exactly. But that top slice League One and League Two, it's just the tip of the iceberg. The real complexity, and frankly, the confusion, starts the moment you drop below that.
Right.
You enter this kind of murky water between professional and amateur.
This is where my head started to spin with all the acronyms and the research. N1, N2, N3.
Can you break this down? Because if I get relegated from League Two, where do I even land?
You land in the national championships. So you can think of National 1 as the third division, National 2 as the fourth, and National 3 as the fifth.
Okay.
And these are all managed by the federation, not the professional league.
Got it. So N1, N2, N3 are the national amateur tiers. And then below that...
Below that, you start hitting the regional leagues, R1, R2, R3. And if you keep going down, you get to the departmental districts.
I saw a specific example in the notes about Alsace that seemed almost absurd in how deep it went.
Oh, the Alsace pyramid is fascinating. The player density there is so high that their structure goes down 9 levels deep.
9 levels. 9. So if you count all the way down from League One, a Sunday League player in Alsace could technically be playing in the 17th division of French football.
The 17th division, that implies a level of organization I just can't fathom for amateur sports.
One source called it the pinky finger of the country. But that pinky finger is vital. That's where the vast majority of those 3 million players are. It's the whole foundation.
But the structure isn't static. There was this huge reform in 2017 that seemed to cause a lot of problems. The government redrew the map of France, and the Football Federation just copied it.
They did. It was a classic case of bureaucratic logic clashing with on-the-ground reality. They merged 22 regional leagues into 13 to match the new government territories.
On paper, I guess that looks cleaner.
It looks cleaner. It aligns the sport with the state. But in practice,
a nightmare.
A logistical nightmare for the clubs. Suddenly, a regional league covers a territory twice the size. So travel times double, bus costs just skyrocket.
But the clubs didn't get any more money to cover that, did they?
Not a cent. So now you have volunteers trying to manage logistics that would challenge a professional travel agent.
You're just increasing the overhead without increasing the revenue. That sounds like a recipe for bankruptcy.
It puts immense pressure on the system. And that pressure is most visible right at the bottleneck of the entire pyramid. National 1, the third division.
Okay, this is what the sources called the quiet revolution. I want to dig into this because the third division isn't usually where the big drama is. Why is National 1 such a flashpoint?
Because it's a hybrid monster. It's a league of 18 clubs. Half of them are professional teams that have crashed out of League Two. We're talking historic giants like Sochaux or Nancy,
Right.
and the other half are these ambitious amateur clubs that have fought their way up from the lower tiers.
So you have fully professional setups playing against semi-pros,
Yes, but they are all operating under the exact same brutal financial constraint.
which is...
There is zero TV rights.
Wait, hold on. Clarify that. You're talking about a club like Nancy, which might play in front of 14,000 people, and they get nothing from television.
Nothing. Zero. They are totally excluded from the massive money pot that the LFP distributes to League One and League Two.
But TV money is what, a third of a pro club's budget? Sometimes half.
Easily. In National One, it's zero. So you have clubs with professional expenses, stadiums, full-time staff, but they're forced to operate on an amateur economic model.
That's completely unsustainable. If you're a big club stuck there, you're just bleeding money.
Exactly. And that's why there's this quiet revolution brewing. There is a massive push to create a League Three, a fully professional third tier.
Which would finally unlock the TV money.
It would. It would provide a financial safety net. But maybe more importantly, it would solve the contract issue.
How so?
Right now, because National One is technically amateur, clubs can't offer true long-term professional contracts.
So if I'm a National One club and I find some brilliant young striker...
A League Two club can just swoop in and take him for almost nothing. You couldn't lock him down with a proper pro deal. A League Three would let these clubs protect their assets and stabilize the whole ecosystem.
Okay, speaking of assets and contracts, we have to talk about the actual money. Because the sources draw this really sharp line between the official economy and the real one.
And this is where it gets a little taboo. It's the part of French football that everyone knows about, but nobody really wants to discuss on the record.
Let's set a baseline first. If I'm a rookie signing my first pro deal in League One, what am I making?
Legally, the minimum is around 2,800 euros a month. Stars make millions, obviously, but that's the absolute floor for a pro.
Okay, now draw me down into National One or National Two. I'm not a pro anymore. How do I pay my rent?
You enter the world of the federal contract. It's a special legal tool for the upper amateur tiers.
So clubs can use these to pay players legally.
Yes, down to Regional One, which is the sixth tier. It's an employment contract, but it's capped and it's regulated. In National One, the minimum is about 1,943 euros a month.
Okay, a living wage.
It is. If you're an ex-pro dropping down, it can get up to around 4,000, but that's the on-the-book stuff.
Right. The sources spend a lot of time on something called the fix, and this is where my whole idea of pure amateur sports just went out the window.
The fix is the reality for thousands of players in the lower leagues. Officially, the federation says you cannot pay a player in the 6th or 7th division a salary. It's amateur sport.
But if you want to win, you need good players.
And good players don't play for free.
So how do they disguise it? How does a village club funnel money to its star striker?
Well, it's usually hidden. It's disguised as travel expenses or maybe indefinite bonuses. It's a fixed monthly amount handed over in cash, or maybe an expense report for mileage that was never actually driven.
And what's the going rate?
It varies wildly. In a lower regional league, it might be 100 or 200 euros a month, basically gas money.
But for a top player at that level?
It can go up to 1,000 euros a month, and that's, essentially tax-free.
And that's before bonuses.
Oh, the bonus menu is extensive. You get signing bonuses, goal bonuses. A victory bonus in a tiny village club might be 30 euros. But in a big Regional One club that's chasing promotion, those envelopes in the locker room get pretty thick.
I also read about the payments in kind. It felt very old school.
It's a barter economy. Sign for us, and the club president will get you a job at his factory.
Or they'll find you an apartment.
Exactly. We've got a small flat above the clubhouse you can use rent-free. It's about the total package. It creates this whole local economy that revolves around the football club.
The thing that really struck me was the secrecy of it all. The sources said it creates a really weird dynamic in the locker room.
It's a total minefield. You could be sitting next to a teammate who's getting 800 euros fixed a month plus an apartment while you're getting nothing but a sandwich after the game.
And you just don't know.
You don't know. It's a closely guarded secret, because if those numbers got out, the team chemistry would just explode. It turns teammates into rivals.
That financial mess seems to turn the transfer market into the Wild West. I mean, we follow the big pro transfers, but the amateur transfer window sounds even more chaotic.
Crazy was the word one coach used. There's zero loyalty when there are no binding contracts.
That anecdote about the goalkeeper was perfect.
Oh, it was. He agrees to sign for Club A, shakes hands, deal's done. Coach goes home happy.
And the very next day.
He signs for Club B, the rival, because they offered him €500 a month. The handshake meant absolutely nothing.
And for even less than that, right? The sources said players will switch clubs for a difference of €50.
€50, to show you how precarious it all is. An extra 50 a month can cover your gas, it matters. But it drives coaches completely insane because they can't build a squad.
But how are these clubs even finding players? They don't have scouting departments, right?
Mostly, no. It's incredibly analog. One of the most common ways is the ambassador method.
Which is what, exactly?
You ask your current player, hey, is your brother any good?
The nepotism strategy? I love it.
And it works. The sources mentioned a few sets of brothers playing together. Or coaches just keep a physical notebook. They'll play against a team, some guy on the other side just destroys them, and they write his name down for next summer.
There was that one exception, though. U.S. New Lamine. They seem to be trying to professionalize things.
They are the outlier.
Hmm.
A Regional 1 club that set up a legitimate scouting department. They have a manager. They do quarterly monitoring. They're trying to act like a pro club in an amateur world.
But even they're hitting a wall.
Yeah, because it's not just about finding the talent, it's affording it. The recruiters said players are coming in with totally unrealistic salary demands. They want €400 to €800 fixed right away.
For a club sponsored by the local bakery, that's a massive burden.
It is. And this brings us to the flip side of all this. We've talked about the ambition and the money, but the consequence of all this pressure, the costs, the demands, is that the system is actually shrinking.
We're seeing a huge sociological shift. Between 2,000 and 4,000 clubs have just disappeared in recent years.
That is a staggering number. That's not a statistic. That's thousands of communities losing their local team. So why is this happening now?
Two main factors from what I read. The first is just simple demographics.
Right. Rural desertification. Young people are moving to the cities for jobs. If the village is empty, you can't field a team. The player pool just isn't there anymore.
And the second factor?
Burnout. Pure volunteer burnout. In the past, being the club president was a life's passion. You did everything.
You washed the jerseys, you mowed the pitch.
Exactly. Now, people just don't have the time. And the administrative burden from the federation, all these standards and obligations, it's crushing these small clubs.
It sounds like the Federation is trying to professionalize the amateur game, but in doing so, they're accidentally killing it.
That's a very fair assessment. The standards are good in theory, but they require a level of manpower that tiny clubs just don't have.
There was another concept that really caught my eye. Consumer football. This feels like a very modern problem.
It's the shift that terrifies the traditionalists. It means treating the sport like a service you buy, not a community you belong to.
So what does that look like in practice?
It means younger players don't want the discipline of training Tuesday, training Thursday, match on Sunday. They don't want to help clean up.
Right.
They just want to show up, play five-a-side at some commercial complex in the city, pay their fee, and go home.
So they want to be customers, not members. It's the Uberification of football.
Precisely. And that hollows out the traditional village club, which relies entirely on commitment and volunteering. A club needs people to stick around and run the bar after the game. Consumer football just eliminates that social contract.
Okay, so the landscape is tough. But let's say a listener is feeling brave. They want to start their own club in France. The sources actually gave a checklist.
They did. And be warned. It is bureaucratic. This is France we're talking about.
Step 1.
Legal status. You have to form an association under the law of 1901. You need at least 2 people, a president and a treasurer, and you file statutes with the local government.
Okay. Step 2.
Infrastructure. You need a field that meets safety standards. This usually means a long negotiation with the local town hall to get a lease on a municipal stadium.
And then the big one? Money.
You need funding. You can apply for grants or the FA have the fund to aid amateur football. But mostly you're going to be knocking on doors, asking the local bakery or mechanic to put their logo on your jersey for a few €100.
I did love the modern twist in the advice on communication.
Juckles. Oh, yeah.
It was very old school and then took a hard left turn into the 21st century.
Yes. The guide explicitly suggested using AI tools like ChatGPT to write your newsletters and social media posts.
It's a perfect summary of the whole situation, isn't it? A structure based on a 1901 law, struggling with 1932 professional rules, using 2024 AI to try and survive.
It shows that even the most traditional institutions have to adapt or die. If you aren't marketing your village club on Instagram, you probably won't find any players.
So when we step back from all this, from the 17th Division in Alsace to the semi-pros fighting for contracts in National 1, It really feels like French football is at a major crossroads.
It absolutely is.
Hmm.
On one hand, you still have the dream. The Coupe de France exists. A team of plumbers can technically play against PSG. That romance is still the heartbeat of the sport.
But on the other hand, the economics are just ruthless.
The gap between the elite and the grassroots is getting wider and wider. The rural clubs are dying, replaced by this urban consumer model. And the middle class of clubs, those in National One, are stuck in this dangerous limbo, spending like pros, but earning like amateurs.
It raises a really heavy question about community. We think of the village club as the social glue of rural France. It's where the mayor and the postman and the teenager are all on the same level.
Hmm.
As those clubs disappear, are we losing something much bigger than just a game?
I think we are. We're losing a space where different generations and different social classes just mixed. Every Sunday, five-a-side in the city doesn't replace that. You play with your friends there. In a club, you play with whoever lives in your village. That's what builds a community.
That is something to chew on. Next time you're driving through the French countryside and you see those crooked goalposts in an empty field, maybe take a closer look. There's a whole world of drama and economics just disappearing right there on the grass.
It's the pinky finger that moves the hand, and right now, it's hurting.
Thanks for diving in with us. We'll catch you on the next one.